Hey guys, I'm Quirky Turtle, and this is the staff's best build. So basically, I'm just going to go over what my speedrunner build is, considering that is the best absolute build for the staff right now, which is the freeze build. So first things first, I'm going to go over the Ember tree and walk you through everything I do for a speedrun, basically, and then work through the build. So first things first, I go Earned Vitality, Earned Power, Pocket Change, Warm Welcome, Guardian Angel, Relic Dice, Refinery, Bonus Relic, and Expansion. I skipped over this slot because you want to take Deep Knowledge in the Nexus, and then you want to roll for your relics, which I already did previously, and when you pick up Arcane Bolts, you'll get an additional charge for it in the Nexus, and then I like to swap it to the other spots, and then you can pick up the other relics, which will be Brittle, Sceptre, Onyx, Raven, and a Frostbite. Then you go back down to the Ember tree, and instead of keeping it on Deep Knowledge, since you already used what it does, you can now take Expertise. So when perfecting skills, you deal 30% bonus damage, which is insane. Now, the mods I use for the staff is 3-2-3, which is Magic Orbs, Focus, and Clairvoyance, along with Arcane Mastery to get the Quasar Orbs. Now, I know I might be moving through this a little fast, but kind of keep the video a little bit short. So, Haste, I like to go with 3 Haste, 3 Onslaught, 1 Pantheon, 1 Doused, and 5 Blitz. So, when you take Doused and Guardian Angel in the Ember tree, it doesn't actually do anything because Guardian Angel is a preventative, not a revive. So you can take Doused and it's just basically 3 free orbs. So with that being said, let's head right into the run. Now, if you've seen any of my speedruns recently, you'll know basically what the build is, but I'll try to walk through the entire thing without trying to go incredibly fast. But basically, it's just built around skills, and you just need to perfect your skills, and that's about it. You perfect your skills, it freezes enemies, and then when you refreeze them, it does 25 additional damage. I should not have opened the skill selector, but it's not a bad spot to take a little pause in. So, once again, the entire build is built around Brittle, Sceptre, and Frostbite. However, getting a Black Ice does a lot. So, Black Ice with Brittle Sceptre basically makes your skills deal an additional 50% damage when you perfect, because it applies that freeze damage increase to any skill that applies freeze. So my Arcane Bolts will apply freeze because of my Brittle Sceptre if I perfect them, and its base damage is 8, right? But if I take the Black Ice, then it'll go up to 12 because it increases its damage by 50%. Hopefully that makes enough sense so I can move on here. Damn. Black Ice is really good if you have a lot of skill damage because it scales on top of your skill damage. It's a multiplier on top, like a 1.5x multiplier on top of what your skills would be doing before, like with the skill damage increase and all of that. Now, I don't really want a chrono, but I guess I'll take it for the purpose of this video. And the other thing is, if you are trying to speedrun, then you're going to want to not pick up any gems until you get a skill damage gem, because picking up a gem, it'll get doubled with Refinery, and you don't want to pick up a gem that's not skill damage because you want to amass as much skill damage as humanly possible, or not even humanly possible, just as much as possible. Now, you should always go to the gold room, just because gold is way better than Ember. Mostly because if you want to go fast, you need the gold to be able to buy more relics in the shop. Now, Frostbite maxes out at level 3, which does 75 damage upon refreezing an enemy. Black Ice will max out at level 4, which is an increase of 200% skill damage, or 200% damage, as a multiplier. So it gives you 3x damage, technically, with it at level 4. Chilling Wind is a crucial part of the build. But I do need to find another Frostbite. Okay, we didn't find it. Generally, I would reset this run, but I'll continue for the sake of the video. So, Chilling Wind. When you kill an enemy, it creates a burst of freeze around the enemy that died, as long as that person who died was frozen. Now, that can chain react. If that kills another enemy, it will also create an explosion or burst of freeze. If you kill a group of enemies, it kills them really fast because it just chain reacts and deals a whole bunch of damage to everybody. Hopefully I can show you here, except there's like no enemies in this room, so it's not going to be this room that you get to see it. Now, you do want to take all of the skill damage gems that are like offered, and the other things that you want to take is move speed. Move speed and skill damage are crucial for speedrunning at least. Now, just for the build's sake, it's not that crucial. For like move speed's not very crucial. You don't need any other skills than the skills that you start with. They're just the best skills anyways. Healing rooms, no time changes, so great for speedrunning, and it's just quick. Now, this build is extremely safe as well, because enemies get frozen, which means they can't move, they can't attack, so you're safe from them. You need Frostbites and scaling skill damage. So the best possible start you can get is like a Frostbite and Supreme, or Supreme Ambition and Absolute Ambition, scale the skill damage up. That also works really well, and then hopefully later on you can find Black Ice. Basically, any of the freeze relics are really, really good, except for Arctic Axe, Shivering Touch, and there's one other one. The Glacier Necklace. That one's not insane. Getting 1 is good though, but getting 4, which maxes it out and makes the cooldown 1 second instead of 4 seconds, is not very good. Used way too many relics on it just for a 3-second cooldown reduction. Anyways, so we got the second Frostbite. This should be going to boss fights here, which it is. Now I take Pantheon because Skrixa has an invulnerable stage now, which really sucks, but theoretically we should be able to do enough damage to 1 cycle. Now, that's just a fraction of the strength of this build. I have seen somebody 1 cycle Praxis with this build, so it's pretty damn strong if you get the right relics at the right times. Move speed. Once again, you basically just want to scale move speed and skill damage. The health will come with defeating bosses. Now you can see Chilling Wind going crazy. You can see that a bunch of enemies, like in a group, basically just all died at once because I killed 1 or 2 of them and then the Chilling Wind killed the rest of them. Now these are all not very good. Not very good. Frost Pact is crazy good with a level 3 Frostbite, because every time a Wisp or Frost Wisp applies damage, it will apply the Frostbite damage, which is 75 at max level, or 50 at level 2, or 25 at level 1, which is a ton of damage because you can have up to 5 Wisps with you, or per person. And when they explode, they also deal, they also explode into a frost, ring, which can freeze enemies, which then again, on their death, they can freeze enemies, or refreeze enemies for that matter. Now, another helpful tip is if you have a group of enemies that are really close together, you should use your Quasar Orbs instead of Arcane Bolts, just because it has AoE effects rather than the bolts. Another tip, the Mimic King, unless you don't have it unlocked where he's sleeping when you get to that room, you should never choose a chest, ever. You should just never guess the chest shuffle. It's just never worth it. Getting a relic is just so much more worth it. So, it's also a relic and a skill selector, so it's not even just a relic, it's a relic and skill selector. So, Warlock's Grip is not good here because it's bonus damage, which is the blue damage, not skill damage. So it does not do anything. Magic Tome is okay, but it's not the best. Another Black Ice is solid, but I am getting the Black Ices a little too early because I don't have any scaling skill damage, which means I'm not going to be able to deal a ton of damage late game unless I start to actually scale the skill damage with Absolute or Supreme Ambition. And we didn't even get skill damage in the stat selector, so we're going to take the Gem of Agility, which will get doubled because of Refinery, the Ember Tree upgrade. So boss fights should be really quick with this build because it has really high single target damage. Also, here's Absolute Ambition. Whenever you perfectly complete a room, permanently increase skill damage by 5%. It doesn't sound like a lot, but there's like 60-ish rooms in a run. Actually, there might be closer to 80 rooms in a run. Probably actually 70, now that I think about it. A5 is pretty short. It's probably about 70 rooms in a run. So let's say you perfect every single room. That is 350% skill damage. Yes, that's probably super inaccurate and you're not going to be able to perfect every single room. But even perfecting, like, let's say 20, that's 100% skill damage. That is insane. So it's always worth it. Now, we just move on here and hope and pray that we get some skill damage rooms, which we still haven't gotten. I think we had one skill damage room in A1, and that was it. I hope you guys can see how amazing this build is. Like, it just destroys any enemies. They do not stand a single chance. Wow, okay, that was really unlucky. Like, look at the AoE damage with Chilling Wind. It's just crazy. Like, it's boss fight already. And Lord Bruma goes down way easier than Skrixa. Like, I'm not gonna lie. As long as you have, like, 3 or 4 skill charges and level 2 Frostbite and some sort of skill damage, like, leveled up, it's so easy. Bruma is arguably easier than the A1 bosses. Like, all of them. Also, this felt like a really fast A2. A 120. That's not even bad. Alright. Finally, we get some skill damage. So, in Whitesbury, we're going to be looking for either Supreme Ambition or the last Frostbite in the first selector. And then in Shop, we're going to be looking for the other one, basically. Now, Whitesbury does have some pretty unlucky rooms, as in there's some pretty long rooms. Decayed Sceptre is not bad, because it does give you 15% skill damage and poison, but I'm gonna roll because I need... this is not good. I'll take Glacier Necklace for the simple fact that when I use Arcane Bolts, every single bolt will freeze, which means I'll be gaining another 50 damage or up to 75 damage based on the level of Frostbite. Bruma's Ring is not good at all. The cooldown on it is way too long, and it does the same thing that Chilling Wind does, but Chilling Wind does it every single kill. So it's just not worth it. And whenever you get a skill or a relic selector option, always take the relic selector option. It's just 10 times better. Being able to scale like skill damage versus getting a skill that you do not need, it's not good, but we'll go with health. Basically, anytime you don't get the option of agility or wisdom, you just take health, because why not? There's literally nothing else. Unless you're trying to force something to go crazy good. Also, this could be a crazy run if I can scale my skill damage up. Harvest Scythe is amazing. It is so good. I highly recommend buying it. Stewart's Toolbox is also pretty good, but not as good as Harvest Scythe. Alright, so we got 3 skill charges going into the A3 mini-boss fight. As long as you don't get Big Yule or Mischief, it's pretty straightforward. So once again, just to reiterate, what I'm doing is I'm perfecting skills, and when I kill an enemy that's frozen, I refresh 3 based off of the Onyx Raven. So I got a Bob here. Bob is not that good to get. I don't really have anything to get rid of. My build is pretty solid. I would toss away anything that is not related to freeze. Chronograph is good though, so keep chronographs. Yeah, that's basically all I can say. Yeah, basically you just need to scale skill damage, and then the build goes burr. Like, quite literally, it's freeze. Alright, so that was unlucky. That was also unlucky. Why did it take like 0 damage? There we go. So if you know where Phantom is going to reappear, you can just pre-fire it basically, or pre-charge your skill. Just make sure you're a decent distance away so that it does hit the hitbox and not go through it. Yes, that's a thing occasionally with some enemies. Anvil is probably one of the harder areas because there's a lot of enemies, and some enemies don't die to 1 bolt charge anymore. However, with the build that I have now, it is killing them in 1 bolt charge, which means, wow, this is one of the hardest decisions I will ever make, because Black Ice goes crazy, but I really need this Frostbite. Like, really need the Frostbite. But if I get a refinement room, I should be able to buy the Frostbite, so I will take the Black Ice. Now everything is gambling on me getting a refinement room, which should be pretty easy, because I'm pretty sure it's guaranteed, but maybe not. Oh, there's a shop at least. Oh, well, there's the Frostbite. Nice. Okay. Absolutely never punished. There's still an enemy somewhere. You've got... Oh. He died. Okay. Like, you can just see how strong this build is. I really wish I got skill damage in, like, literally any of these selectors. Like, come on. We take move speed, though. Alright, you're thinking cleanup crew, this is gonna be hard, right? No, not even close. Cleanup crew is easy. Look at that. Just look at the damage that just happened there. Ridiculous. Like, 1 bolt charge killed that enhanced enemy. Also, refinement. Nice. How much is the 4th Black Ice? 552. Wow, that's expensive. There's also gold armor here. I don't know if you knew that. When you take it, it gives you 10 max armor permanently. And also just 10 armor off rip. Very useful. Alright, so we should have 2 rooms and then boss fight. Yes. Ash room, Ember room, and then boss fight. Wow, these skills are doing so much damage. Dealing 200 damage. Occasionally, that is. For the most part, it's like 160. Alright, I'm just gonna make sure that I have skill charges. Yep, okay, I got all bolts. Now, max fight is incredibly difficult compared to what it used to be, but it's still pretty easy with this build. It makes it pretty damn easy. Like, 2 bolt charges gets them down to that threshold. one bolt charge on each of the little guys, and then you just kind of gotta wait out the shield, which I did not do there, but you just gotta wait it out, and then boom, done. And then wait out the shield again, and done. That's it. That is the speed of the boss fight. About 10 to 15 seconds on average. If you're looking for an easy win, use this build. That is all I can say. It is so easy. Hey, some skill damage. Alright, so another helpful tip for speedrunning at least is watch this animation, because you can determine which one is the skill damage route, and that's where you're gonna go. Instead of spamming through it, watch it so you know which room is which, and which ones you basically need to go to. Yes, it helps a lot. Knowledge is key. Oh, this isn't a mini-boss room. How unfortunate. Oh, it's a champion room. Okay. Don't mind champions just perishing. I've given up on the speedrun here because it's not going to be a personal best. But we'll still show you guys how the build works and try to explain it to the best of my ability. When you zap an apple with the staff, it turns it into Apple Crisp, which will refresh one skill charge on your first skill. Okay, this is going to be a really fast room. Prepare yourselves for this. Never mind, I did not perfect one of the skills. This room generally takes about 5 seconds. For a speedrunner, that is. Wow. Okay. Zapping an already zapped apple just makes it disappear. Got it. That also happened earlier. I think it was yesterday, where I zapped a meat and an apple simultaneously, and the chicken, or the meat, whatever you want to call it, just disappeared, and the apple turned into Apple Crisp. Very weird. Don't know why that happened. Also, this is some crazy RNG. I just gotta not die. Basically, the whole goal is to not die. Alright. Shivering Touch. A terrible, and I mean terrible, legendary. We take Surge Feint. Surge Feint is really good. Because when you use a skill, you gain a certain amount of skill damage. Level 1 is 50%, level 2 is 100%. I'm gonna go to the relic upgrade. I won't be able to buy anything in the shop. I know that for a fact, so there's no point in even going to it. Also, look at how fast that room was. 2 champions, gone. Like, 5-second room. Ridiculous. I will grab these charges, and you know exactly what I'm going to upgrade here. Black Ice to level 4. This rarely happens, and when it does, you will see the damage just go crazy. Like, absolutely crazy. I'm going to go to the health room, or healing fountain, and after that, just try to pay attention to the damage that I'm dealing with the skills, because it's going to be a lot. You're going to see like damage numbers like 200-ish. Yep, look at that. 200 damage. 260 damage. Per bolt, that is. Now tell me that this build is not broken. You can't, because it is. It's so broken. That's why we use it for speedrunning. Can I one cycle Praxis? I have my 5 bolts charges. I should be able to do it. Theoretically, I should be able to do it. As long as I perfect every single skill cast and use all 6 bolt charges, or all 5 bolt charges, I should be able to do it, right? 5 bolt charges, 5 bolt charges. Okay. Be prepared for a ton of damage unless I completely screwed up. But it should get down to the last third of his health. 1 cycled Praxis. Look at how much damage that did. That is insane. Now, I kind of wish that I was still forcing the speedrun here, but I didn't. But it doesn't matter, because I just showed you the first time ever that I have one-cycled Praxis. The first time ever. Anyways, just to recap the build, you start with Brittle, Sceptre, Onyx Raven, and a Frostbite, and then Arcane Bolts as your skill to start with. Before you pick up Arcane Bolts, switch to Deep Knowledge in the Ember tree, then pick it up. It'll give you an extra charge, max charge for it, that is. Then go back to the Ember tree and change to Expertise. Then you need to find 2 more Frostbites to basically complete the build. Chilling Wind is crucial because it does a lot of AoE damage on kills. Frostpact will spawn in Wisps, which will then deal Frostbite damage every time they hit a frozen enemy. Absolute Ambition will scale your skill damage up a lot, that is. 5% every room you perfect. Supreme Ambition is also a crazy good one that I didn't get here, but it gives you 1% permanent skill damage for every enemy you kill with a skill. This build is all about skills, so every enemy you kill will give you 1% skill damage. Glacier Necklace is mediocre. It probably allowed me to one cycle. Harvest Scythe goes crazy at the beginning and still stays strong near the end. Black Ice goes crazy because you are every bolt or perfect skill that you cast will apply the freeze effect, which will then get multiplied, or its damage will get multiplied by Black Ice, whatever the damage increase is on Black Ice. So since I have it at level 4, it was doing 3x damage. So my bolts weren't really doing 260 damage. They were really only doing like roughly 80 damage. Or 85 damage, whatever the math actually comes out as. Now, I believe, but don't quote me on this, I believe Harvest Scythe and Black Ice are both multipliers on top. They're not just increases by skill damage, they're multipliers on top. What else? Surge Pendant is pretty good to the build. Chronograph, you generally need 1 Chronograph, which will then get your skills down to a 6 recharge, which is ridiculous. Because that's literally the minimum recharge or for a skill is 5. You can't go past 5. So basically it's 2 kills will give you a charge, or a kill and another skill recharging will give you 2. So that's 5. That's basically a charge. Things like that. If you do attempt this build, just know that the more you try to do it, the faster at the build you'll become, and thus you're going to want to speedrun. Trust me. I didn't start speedrunning by being incredibly fast. I started speedrunning by seeing a crazy build and was like, wow, this is ridiculous. And it made me want to play the game more with that build and just progress. And then, obviously, the times at that time when I became a speedrunner weren't crazy, so it was easy for me to slowly build up and get to that point. Now, thank you for watching. If this build is helpful, if you want to see more builds like this, just subscribe and leave a like on this video. It helps a lot. And if you have any comments, suggestions, build ideas, literally anything, even just to say this build really helped me, be my first Doom run, or anything like that, put in the comments. I read every single comment, and I'll try to respond as quickly as possible. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.